If you've watched an NFL game in person or on TV recently, you may have noticed that there's only a small amount of helmet models actually being used by players on the field. If not, well, that's why you have a nerd like me here. Hi guys, I'm Andy with Visual and Minutia Sports, and today I'll be walking through the 6 main helmet models being worn on the field by NFL players and how we got here. The primary reason that we have so few helmet models available to players came in the wake of the NFL's reaction to an early 2010s lawsuit brought on by former players who suffer from CTE. What the NFL now does is, on an annual basis, they test all helmets through Virginia Tech and produces a poster of which helmets are legal and not legal, and requires the team to post it in their locker rooms. The primary way that most helmets protect players is by using a hard outer shell. The first example of this is Riddell and their model, the speedflex, which is the most common helmet used in the NFL today. What the speedflex does is it takes a hard outer shell and then makes a hexagon cutout right on the forehead and uses that panel to flex and absorb main impacts that players take from head-on impacts. Their other model, and the safest helmet according to Virginia Tech this year, is the Axiom, which uses an additional panel on the side that's cut out that can flex inward. Another company that uses a very similar technology is Schutt and their model, the F7. Previous models used a rectangular cutout that's screwed into the top of the helmet to absorb impacts the same way that the flex pad did on the speedflex. The newer models takes that same rectangular pad and just molds it into the outer crown of the helmet. Another company that uses a hard outer shell is a company called Light Helmet Football Company, founded by former race car driver Bill Simpson. What they do and focus on is making the lightest helmet possible, ironically enough, often averaging about a pound lighter. Their helmets feature 2 grooves going down the middle and have 2 models, the Gladiator and the Apache, that use 3D printing to make the inside of the helmet as light as they can while still passing the testing. An entirely different approach is taken by Vicis. What they do is, instead of focusing on the padding on the inside, which they still focus on to a large degree, no disrespect, is they make a softer plastic outside that can deform and absorb more impact. Their primary model is called the Zero2 and is worn by primarily quarterbacks, most notably Indiana quarterback Fernando Mendoza. You can recognize this helmet by the 2 ridges on the top of the helmet and the dot matrix on the side. This helmet does have some possibility to shatter, as happened to Patrick Mahomes in a playoff game a few years ago, but to the best of my knowledge, the errors that led to that have been fixed. Their newest innovation is a new lineman-specific helmet called the Vicis Trench, which essentially adds a car bumper to the front of the forehead, which can look a little goofy and has apparently steered some players away from it. Well, those are the 6 models we have today, and how to recognize them. The speedflex through the hexagon cutout, the Axiom through the flex pad on the side, the F7 through the rectangular plate system on the front. The Light, which I didn't give as much example of, has 2 grooves going down the middle, which you can identify, and the Vicis, which has the dot matrix on the top, and the Trench with that garish thing on the front of the helmet, whatever they want to call it. Until next time, guys, I'm Andy with Visual Minutia Sports, and I'll see you around.